Welcome back. In response to the shocking findings of a wide-ranging review into the bullying and mistreatment of gymnasts last year, the two largest sporting bodies responsible for funding elite and grassroots sport in the UK have outlined plans to strengthen safeguarding and welfare across all sports. Well, for more on this, we can speak to our reporter, Geraint Hughes. It was a damning review, wasn't it? And I guess inevitable that something had to change.
Yeah, I think it's maybe just cast our viewers' minds back. And why this is important is that this revolves around, you know, young people who are watching up, but also parents who are watching us that probably over the weekend have been to various sports clubs. The landscape has changed when it comes to safeguarding and welfare, and it was laid bare brutally in what was called the Whyte review. It was a QC-led at the time. QC-led review took a couple of years, £3 million by Anne Whyte QC. 3,500 testimonies sort of came her way, plus others that had been put into British Gymnastics at the time. It revolved around gymnastics. And when I say sickening and harrowing, I mean some of the testimony that was given by those brave gymnasts that said what had happened to them. Bullying, mistreatment, starvation. You know, they were trying to hide, you know, a chocolate bar in their socks or in their hotel ceilings because people, you know, people were checking them. Then there's obviously physical and mental abuse as well. So I'm giving you a very small condensed version, but it was awful last June when this review was published. What happened then was that Anne Whyte, the QC involved in it at the time, said any reform, any improvement, any strengthening, you can't just confine it to gymnastics. This must be all sport. And that pricked the ears, obviously, of UK sports, who are in charge of elite sport funding in the UK, Sport England, grassroots in England, but they are the two largest bodies that distribute money for funding of sport across the board, all sports as well. So since then, they took it upon them to sort of, right, we have to strengthen, we have to improve safeguarding and welfare issues across all sports. What they've done today is to say, yes, we've been working since June last year and saying 19 commitments are going to be in place now that will improve safeguarding and welfare. All this is designed as well to improve those sports as well, but also to give confidence to the viewers who now are listening with children, younger, you know, adolescents, teenagers, etc., to go into sport as well, and the parents that go to those sports then. It's wide-reaching. You
said it there, 19 key commitments. What would be some of the most important and significant ones?
I won't go through them all. Everything, by the way, is publicly available now. I had a briefing earlier this afternoon with UK Sport and Sport England, but they are, you know, they are publicly funded, so everything is visible on that case. But a couple of things that stuck out by me was they go around coaching the coaches and the athletes. Those are the two areas. The athletes, they have a voice. The coaches, you don't get coaches behaving in a certain way where there's no comeback, there's no oversight. So also it's about helping coaches as well. So one of the commitments is to have plans in place to help coaches with their techniques, not just around technically training people, but also around welfare and safeguarding issues as well. And also effectively accreditation, so that people that are going to that particular sport will be able to see the qualifications of that coach. Are they fit for purpose effectively as well? Then the athlete's voice, because the gymnasts said they didn't have a voice until it all erupted sort of in 2021, and obviously with the Whyte, 2020, I beg your pardon, and then the Whyte review in 2020. For example, where they can go, who they can speak to. That was one of the complaints. You know, how can you complain to somebody that's bullying you? So what UK Sport, the Chief Executive, Sally Munday, spoke about today was something that's been in place for a few months now, since May last year. Sport integrity. Independent body, oversight run by Sport Resolution. If an athlete has a problem in any sport, independent, they can go to these people. They're not involved in their sport. They're not involved in their governing body. They can go, they can put their complaint, and it will be acted upon as well. Currently, 22 of the 34 publicly funded elite sports, they're signed up to it, and the expectation is those 12 that are missing I've asked today about that today. I was told, no, we expect by the end of the year now, it's just a question of getting everything, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, is that all sports will be signed up to sport integrity by next year. That will give the athletes an independent, third-party voice away from their sport if they have any issues or want to raise any concerns.
And the point that you made a moment or so ago about adolescents, young people feeling safe, and about their parents feeling they are in a good environment to be playing sport, the way that under-18s are looked after, I guess, is a significant one for the next few months.
Yeah, there's now going to be, at least going to be a debate. There's nothing concrete about this, but obviously with gymnastics, invariably, especially when it comes to female gymnasts, they're very young. But in all sports, there are people who are very, very young. They're under 18. You just look at what we heard in the news the other day, not British, but the Russian ice skater Kamila Valieva, who was probably the story of the Winter Olympics last year when she failed a drugs test, finding that there was no fault on her behalf. It was people who failed her. She was 15 at the time. So there's going to be this debate now about making the space in elite sports especially. Well, is it a safe environment? Can they compete in that environment without undue pressure, with the safety and the welfare, all those points in place for these athletes? And you have it in all sports, not just in gymnastics. You have it in football, you have it in cricket, you have it in rugby, you have it in, you do have it in boxing. So today, I think the debate was already happening, but it's just highlight that debate is continue, so that if you are going to have under 18s competing at the highest level in those high pressure environments, that it is 100% a safe space to be had for. That work will take some time, but I imagine there will be more commitments, there'll be more points that all sports will have to sign up to, so that under 18s, for example, if they are to compete at the highest level, it will be a safe space for them to do so.